Hello and welcome. I'm Betty the Storyteller. Welcome. Join me as I tell another story. Do you know when you have a desire and a wish and you just want something to happen and you go, how do I make this happen? How do I make my desire and my wish happen? Well, let me tell you my story. When I first moved from New York, for some unknown reason, I had this immense desire to have a horse. Now, my family never had a horse. We didn't live on a farm. I just wanted a horse. So I spent the summer, 2 summers actually, cutting grass and doing all kinds of things, babysitting, whatever I can do to save up some money so that I could buy a horse. And I did. I saved up my money and I got a horse. Did I know anything about horses? No. It was summertime. I think I was 16 years old. And every day I kept cutting my grass and I kept feeding my horse, and I had a little farm and I just had a little area where he could run around. There was no house, there was no nothing. And summer was coming to an end and I said, uh-oh, how am I going to take care of my horse? I have to go to school, all the things you do once you're back at school. So I'm riding around on my horse that I didn't know how to ride properly. And I looked at the most elaborate, beautiful, expensive barn area, and I rode my horse in bareback because I didn't have enough money for a saddle, and looked around and got these weird looks because people were with their very expensive saddles and their very beautiful clothes that they wear with the particular type of saddle. And I just figured out who was the person running it. Not the owner, probably not, but the person running the barn. So, tied up my horse, I ran over to the guy and I said, how much does it cost to stay at this barn? And at that time in the 1970s, it was $700 a month. I said, okay. And I packed up my horse, I went back to my little barn, I came home and I told my dad, and my dad goes, I'm not paying $700 to keep a horse. And I said, okay. So the next day, I took my little car that I had, my little stick shift, drove to the ranch, found the guy that runs the ranch, and I said, if I come here every day at 5 in the morning and clean all the stalls, would you let me stay here? And he said, yes, if you can clean all 135 stalls. And that's where it all started. I got up, I drove there, I cleaned the 135 stalls before I had to go to school, and I had my horse there. Now, here's where the story gets really interesting. So I'm there, and all of these young people of my age were getting private lessons and doing all these fancy shows, and here I am with my little halter and no saddle and trying to figure out, what do I need? So I'm learning by watching them and seeing how they care for things and seeing what they don't like doing. And I started saying to individuals, oh, I'll clean that saddle for you. Oh, okay. I said, and I started giving prices. And I said, oh, and I'll clean your halter for you. And I'll clean, leather halter that they had and their bridles and all the fancy equipment. Anything they didn't like doing, I would do and charge them. And then I started noticing that they would like to get newer saddles. So I had a little bit of cash. I'd go to the parents as they were about to go get a new saddle and say, hey, I'll buy the old saddle. I'd buy the old saddle. And then the next day I'd go to where they bought the saddle and trade in the saddle for a lot more than what I bought it for. And this is how I progressed forward in getting money so that I didn't have to wake up early in the morning to clean the 135 stalls. Then I started noticing that one of these people in the middle of the night were braiding the horse's mane and braiding the horse's tail for a show. It was a hunter show. I didn't know what that meant. They said, it's for jumping. And I said, oh, okay. So I asked the woman, I said, how much you charge for this? And she'd put ribbons. She said, well, each horse has a different color combo and this and that. And the owners tell me, oh, so what do you charge? So whatever she charged, what I did was I spent about 2 months braiding my horse's mane, braiding my horse's tail, figuring out how to do this. And when I got really proficient at doing it, I lowered the price. And then every show, it was about every 2 weeks, I would have 30 horses lined up, and I was making a ton of money braiding manes and braiding horses' tails with their combined colors. And that's another thing that I made money with. So I was able to pay that $700, and I was able to enjoy. And here's the best part of the story. In the evenings, the best trainers were coming to teach these young kids. I didn't have the money. I just wanted the money, enough money to keep my horse and let me have my little saddle. But I was learning. I was watching, and I would practice after they left, and I would try to think, am I good at this? And years later, I land up in Kentucky. And my husband says to me, now that we're here in Kentucky for a while, what would you like? I go, could we go to the best trainer? And I just want to ride for a little while. And he said, why? I said, just something I want to know. So I land up going to the best trainer a few years back. And she said, how long has it been since you've ridden? I said, about 10, 15 years. And I get on the horse, and after the first time, she doesn't say much. And the second time, she doesn't say much. And she keeps training me, and she keeps teaching me. And she said, I said, how am I doing? And here's that age thing again. I love it. She said, if you were a little younger, you would be my top rider right now. Now, I could have been the top rider if I had pushed the issue. I just wanted to know, did I learn by watching and nobody ever telling me, was I a good rider, a bad rider, whatever rider? I was a good rider. I did learn. I learned by listening and practicing at night, and that, her telling me that I was good enough, that only if I were younger, that's all I wanted to know. I told my husband, I'm good. I didn't want horses anymore. I didn't have the time, or it wasn't my passion anymore. And he goes, are you good? And I said, I'm good. I just wanted to know, did I learn? Did I become the rider that I really wanted to become? And I did. And I enjoyed all the years that I had with my horse, and I enjoyed all the lessons that I learned, and I enjoyed that if you really want something, figure out the different ways in which you can make money, or different ways in which you can, do something to get what you want in a very productive way. And I got to learn to hang out with horses and how to talk to them and how to be around them in cleaning their stall in a small space. And I learned how to ride. And that felt good at that moment. So I say, when you have a dream and a passion, go for it. Learn, figure out how to make it happen. There's always a way, I'm telling you, there really is. And then later on, you can find out, did I succeed? Did I really make myself in the person that I wanted? And I did. And I was happy. So I say to you, I hope you enjoyed this story. I'm Betty the Storyteller. And if you liked what I said, please share with friends. Till next time. Bye-bye.